If that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good emoji, by the way. Well, god dang, I need to tie up my hair. Like, this hair is not going anywhere. I mean, this hair is going everywhere, right? God dang, it's so freaking long. Look at my hair. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, like always, like usual, before we start our stream here, before we start our main session here, the first thing that we gotta go for is reacting on what's going on internet. And I got the right topic for you guys right now. Let's shut the music right now because it's too loud. God damn it. Let Mr. Nathan speak, for God's sake. Alright, where were we? This one topic about Dragon Age Veilguard. Alright, I know. I guess most of you guys already know that what I'm going to talk about, or what kind of video that I'm going to react on. But well, that's the question, isn't it? Mr. Nathan born in a time where there's no politics. I mean, there's still politics in gaming, in game industry, but it's just super rare to see one. You know what I mean? Like back in the days, games is just about entertainment. Back in the days, games is just about moral value. Back in the days, game is just that. What the heck going on in today's game, guys? Questions. Why do people use gaming as a place, as a platform for politics or agenda? I have no idea. Maybe I'm too old right now. Maybe this is all just a Gen Z shit, you know what I mean? But man, that's terrible. Can we just have fun and not talk about politics in game? We got lots of politics stuff in real life already, for God's sake. Let game be our escapisms. Know what I mean? But let's go and check it out. Let me put it on right now, straight on here. Google. All right. Dragon Age. How many of you have played this game? Questions. I haven't played it. I don't know if I will play it, but damn. Gamers are angry. Review bomb, BioWare response trash, okay? The absolute state of the Veilguard. Absolute state of a Dragon Age the Veilguard, okay? Dragon Age the Veilguard critic awoke a nightmare. This seems very interesting to actually go and watch. Let's go and check it out.
Tolkien once said that he disliked allegory in all its manifestations. He preferred it when stories were inspired by history.
I hope you guys can hear it.
Tangible events that you may feel a personal connection to, not because the author is forcing their political opinions onto you, but because relatable truths are bound to unfold when one looks deep into their history. Dragon Age the Veilguard is a bad video game and a terrible story.
Let me repronounce it, man. I butchered the name. It's not Veilguard, it's Veilguard. I don't know why I said Veilguard, but yeah.
It beats out Starfield as the worst gaming experience I've had on this channel. Some other critics will focus on the flaws in the writing and gameplay without getting into politics. I don't want to do that, and it's not because I think the woke elements of this game are the worst part about it. The game itself is plenty bad without any politics. It's because wokeness is the cause of Dragon Age turning into an incompetent mess. BioWare promoted leftist political activists to write and design their game instead of talented game developers, and so another beloved.
Now I understand when there's news about woke, lefties, or LGBTQ, you know, I understand most of the times when it comes to games, like they exaggerate it, right? Like critics or YouTuber critic, as a matter of fact, exaggerated it because they just don't like that element, you know what I mean? And I understand. I'm not sure how much of it's in the game, you know, how much of it's just kind of like being put in the game. But if it's a lot, it's a mess. It's a mess up stuff. I mean, you shouldn't talk about politics or woke agenda in a goddamn game that meant to be entertainment. And you are currently selling this game to what? 16 years old, 12 years old, whatever. I don't know what's the age rate for this game. Could be E for everyone or M for mature. Perhaps M for mature. But yeah, lots of kids are going to play this game, as a matter of fact. No matter what, but you just kind of like send off the message, and like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter when if it's just if they actually incorporate it, like make it like part of the story and not like agenda kind of shit, you know. But when it's obvious that it's kind of like agenda, it's obvious when it's kind of like they try to kind of like spread the words and just let everybody know through this entertainment platform. It's annoying, isn't it? You can just let us have some fun and stop thinking about politics for once. God dang it. But it is what it is.
Franchise has gone up in flames, and it will most likely never recover.
All right, folks. It may make me sounds like I hate LGBTQ. No, that's not the case. As a matter of fact, I've got a lot of gay friends out there. I mean, here in my place, I got a lot of lesbian friends. I got a lot of gay friends, and I'm okay with LGBTQ stuff. As a matter of fact, I respect trans people as a human being. Yeah, I'm not against them choosing what they want to choose. I don't go against that. Yeah, what I go against is that they try to shove their ideas into the youngster. Now that's kind of like disturb me a bit. As a matter of fact, sooner or later I'll get a children of my own, and when that happens, I don't want my children to freaking expose with this message. They may ask, "What's wrong with our message? What's wrong with our message?" Well, listen. There's plenty wrong. No one's gonna talk about it. I will not talk about it because I don't want to go to politics. I want to stay to games, and I want my children to be safe. So that's all.
I bet some of you watching disagreed with me when I said the woke elements aren't the worst part about the game. What could be worse than gutting an established world's lore for a political agenda? And don't worry, I'll complain about that later. But I believe the worst part about the Veilguard can be summed up in one word: choice, or the lack thereof. More than anything, the Veilguard is a game that plays itself. Obviously, this can be seen in the dialogue. With very few exceptions, you cannot be evil in this game. Every dialogue option is either yes, sarcastic yes, angry yes, or I'm trans. I also think the
Or I'm trans. That's a little bit too much. Not really. Whatever, right? Let's game. I don't know who's this game made for, but yeah. 2024. We gotta love it, guys. We gotta love it, 100%.
The absence of evil options makes doing good feel less impactful. In Baldur's Gate 3, you can feel the weight behind your decisions when you save the day because you know you're stopping an evil event from...
Is there a choice in Baldur's Gate 3 where you just choose to be non-binary? I'm not sure. Ada ke sayang? Baldur's Gate 3, dia female, male, boleh pilih non-binary. I'm not sure myself, but man, if Baldur's Gate have the choice of non-binary and not having this backlash, it shows a lot, you know. It shows a lot. If Baldur's Gate have it, I'm not sure if Baldur's Gate have it. If they actually allow you to choose to be non-binary in that game, but yeah, that tells a lot. Like, people don't complain about Baldur's Gate. You're not seeing that, but there's a choice to be trans in that game. I could be wrong though. I never actually played that game. But let's go ahead and continue our video here, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, or the Veilguard critique.
Taking place. Even if you never choose a single evil dialogue option, the presence of evil gives meaning to being good. So the story lacks choice, but don't get too excited and start thinking that the gameplay presents any more interesting choices either. The game's combat plays itself too. The way combat works is you spam low damage combos against health sponge enemies.
I'm not gonna lie here, I'm not gonna lie. This combat visually, it looks okay. It looks cool. Alright? It looks cool. But this critique, he said that there's something wrong with the combat, so let's loosen him up.
Occasionally use high damage attacks when they come off of cooldown. You also have companion skills, however they don't present any interesting choices, as the only correct choice is to use the same companion combo ability every time they come off of cooldown to do the most damage possible. The combat in this game is weird. Although it lacks depth, it does have a dodge roll and many satisfying animations. It shouldn't be worse than Skyrim hit trading combat, and yet I've never once felt the need to lower Skyrim or any game I've
really
but
need to try
it's easy
Skyrim, not
mode.
a lie.
However, I switched to
was good.
storyteller mode after 8 hours of playing Dragon Age. To my surprise, I still thought the enemies had a bit too much health in game journalist mode, which highlights my main issue with the combat. The
Game
combat
journalist
shouldn't be
mode?
absolutely terrible,
What
but
is
when
that?
all you do is fight
Is that a
respawned
thing
health
now?
sponges for hours on
Game
end, it
journalist
becomes
mode?
miserable. I genuinely don't know if I saw any new enemies past the 6-hour mark outside of a few bosses. A game like Skyrim doesn't have amazing enemy variety either, but at least the combat is spread out across the open world, so it feels special when you find an encounter. The Veilguard has many Devil May Cry 5 type levels, where all you do is run through a linear level that's broken up by constant combat. This works in a game with incredible combat depth like DMC, but it's dreadfully boring in a game that plays itself.
Honestly, that's a bad. Honestly, that's a bad comparisons, because Devil May Cry is like a combo-based game, right? It's a game built around a good combat system, a good combo systems, you know. And I'm not sure if Dragon Age and the Veilguard actually built around combo systems. It seems like it's more. I mean, like the oldies Dragon Age. I've seen some of the videos. Is actually most probably about strategy, not combo. But I'm not sure. But that's a bad comparison if you bring games that ultimately was built or was made around combo system or combat combo system, with a game that was meant to be like a strategic way of dealing with enemies, you know. So
like the Veilguard. If the Veilguard had larger open world areas with good side quests like The Witcher 3 or Baldur's Gate 3, the combat wouldn't ruin the experience. But for so much of Dragon Age, the combat is the entire experience, and it's not good. Also, lowering the game into storyteller mode removes the only interesting choice combat presents, which is when to use the dodge roll button, because it hardly matters when nothing hurts me. However, I found this trade-off to be more than worth it so that I could spend less time killing the same health sponge enemies on repeat. This game would be drastically improved if there was a difficulty option that kept enemy damage high while lowering enemy health a lot. Of course, even if they did do this...
if I'm not mistaken, if I got this wrong, forgive me. But yeah, what he's talking about is the balance of the difficulty. So that's between enemy HP, and the damage input that you kind of like give out on the enemy. So for him, that's an issue in this game.
The reskins would still get boring, but the game would overall be better. In addition to the combat lacking interesting choices, the level design is also terrible. Not only do the levels lack any interesting navigational choices due to their linearity, they also have some of the most brain-dead puzzles I've ever had the displeasure.
With all respect, that armor is ugly as F! Alright, let's continue.
Of solving in a video game. Many puzzles are as simple as dragging one object from point A to point B or shooting blight sacks to open a door. Every time I had to shoot crystals to open a door, my game would glitch out like it was a Bethesda title. You are also stopped in many levels.
That's unfinished.
With companion ability puzzles, where you tell your companion to use their ability, then you get to continue. That's it. That's the puzzle. You just press the button.
Yeah, I heard a lot. I even read an article stating about this. The puzzle is kind of like a mockery or insulting puzzle because of its simplicity, you know. So I guess people do not like. I mean, the game. I'm not sure if Dragon Age was supposed to be a puzzle game. I'm not sure about that, but if it's part of it, if puzzle is part of what Dragon Age was supposed to be, then they actually botched that up. They actually made it worse. Damn.
To give this game one compliment, I enjoyed how pretty the levels looked. Many of the city levels in particular looked like fantastical places.
Yeah, it looks good.
I'd want to visit myself. However,
I even watched a video about people talk about how the graphic style or the art style kind of like changed more towards like Fortnite-ish kind of look, you know. For me, I don't really care if the game's art style change or anything like that. If it's not a horror game, going for Fortnite style of graphics or style of art it's not really a punch to the face. The game still can be good, you know. If it's a like combat game or whatever, look at what what happened to Darksider. You know, from Darksider 2, more realistic looks to its to Darksider 3. You know, changes of style and everything. You know, I'm pretty sure that's a backlash on Darksiders 3, but it still looks good. It still plays well, and yeah, I don't think that's an issue at all. Like people exaggerate this kind of stuff where the graphic is an issue. Not the graphic, sorry, the art style is an issue. But I'm not. But yet again, I'm not a guy who actually played Dragon Age. So I don't know. Who am I to talk about all of this? You know what I mean? That's just my opinion on overall, like generally on any games.
Compliments end there, as the cities themselves are artificial. One second you'll be running through a city, the next you'll be fighting cultists or darkspawn right next to the townsfolk. It felt so weird to finish a dungeon and have it lead directly into the city. So the people of this world are content with having darkspawn living on the other side of the wall right next to them. In something like Baldur's Gate 3, you only get into combat in the city when it makes sense. You'll be attacked by criminals, or you'll find a cult.
I don't find it's a problem. I don't find it's a problem. You just kind of like spawn enemy in the middle of a city. That's not supposed to be your hub. If it's not supposed to be your safe hub, then it's okay to spawn enemies, even if it doesn't make sense. I mean, like, it's entertainment factor anyway. So I don't know. He complained about that. For me, that's not like a downside of that game. And try to compare again. I don't like when people critique about certain games. They compare it to a much better title. I like to just kind of like look at the game at its own thing, you know? Like if there's something wrong with the game at its own thing, at its own level, then there's something wrong with it. So for me, it's fine.
Hideout deep underneath the sewers. The cities are also not fun to explore. Most NPCs have no dialogue at all, and the side quests you do find are extremely uninteresting as they never offer interesting RPG choices. In The Witcher 3, a random side quest can leave you with a deep moral quandary. While in the Veilguard, you'll be asked to figure out why a ghost died, then you'll follow map markers and fight darkspawn until you can help the ghost, and then the ghost leaves.
It's almost like the game being made for 12 years old who do not want to use his brain, you know. That's what it feels like.
Many of the non-companion side quests are just AAA bloat designed to increase the playtime so they can say they made an incredible 80-hour RPG, even though most of it is repetitive and thoughtless. More than anything, this game's level design is about not thinking and following map markers.
I think that I need to try it.
You follow map markers from point A to point B so that you can fight the same
the game looks good.
Sponges with
the game
the
looks
same
good. I don't know how it feels like or what
it
may feels like, but it looks cool. It looks cool. Gender. Let's jump into the gender because that's my main topic here.
Being bad, let's talk about the story, which means it's time to talk about this game's favorite subject, gender. I believe that all
this game's favorite subject. Now when he talk about story, he jumps straight away to gender. It's almost like the whole story, like at least 70 to 80% of it is about sending this message about gender. So I'm not sure. Let's listen up.
Stories are made from a balance between the masculine.
Also, honestly, I'm surprised that it's not getting banned here in Malaysia, just because Malaysia is a Muslim country. So I'm surprised that it's not getting banned. I don't know. Malaysia need a better. Honestly, no. Malaysia do not need something to filter games. They'll start filtering all fucking games. And we're gonna miss a lot of goddamn games. So Malaysia, don't leave the game business to other things, all right? Other people. Don't touch game business. All right, let's go.
The feminine. Some authors will lean more towards one gender or the other, but you can never go too far. A masculine story that is all plot points and action divorced from any feeling will lack impact, just as a feminine story that is all people talking about their emotions divorced from grounded plot events will feel frivolous. It is the job of the author to take the strengths associated with each gender and combine them to create something truly great. Dragon Age the Veilguard is not bad because it's too feminine. It's bad because it takes the worst aspects of masculine and feminine writing to create a narrative so dull that it almost requires a new name. Perhaps non-binary writing. Much of the dialogue is characters explaining complex plot points divorced from any emotion, and then when the characters start expressing themselves, it's always one of two things. It's either a cringy joke that nobody is laughing at, or self-doubt. The best analogy to this game's character writing is that it feels like you're talking to a girl who just broke up with their boyfriend and is unloading all of their insecurity and self-doubt onto you. If I ever have to listen to another Dragon Age character tell me how insecure and nervous they are and how they don't think they can do it, I'm gonna explode. Then all of your dialogue options.
Now the thing about his complaint is that the fact that for him there's a lot of stuff that goes on like this. It's like overwhelmingly lot of stuff that goes on like this. For me, if it's just like one character doing it, I don't find it's a problem at all. Honestly, like if it's part of the story, if it's part of the character build up, character development, I don't really care. You know, even if it's like woke agenda or whatever, even if it's a non-binary thing, like whatever, if it's just one part of it, like the entirety of the game, just one moment you gotta confront this kind of thing, that's fine by me. You know what I mean? But it's like if it's overwhelming, it's not a game anymore. It's just a place for you to just kind of like spread your words. Which, come on, don't do that to games. You know what I mean?
Are ripped straight from r/nice guys. Where's the dialogue option to tell them to shut the up and stop complaining? This is a game where all you do is constantly murder other humans and demonic creatures. How in the hell do none of these characters have any backbone to just be a little masculine and stop complaining when all they do is murder people?
He got a good point, right? He got a good point.
Masculine elements, it's usually just generic villains prattling on about world domination.
All right, guys. All right, we're not going to dive like too much into it. Like, I don't want to get into politics that much. I'm not into politics anyway. It's not my politics. It's not Malaysia politics. Malaysia is still clean. It's mostly out there, you know. So let's just not get overwhelmed